Hello, I'm Joe Dillette. What I'd like to talk about is doing a proposal for a piece of artwork. I got an inquiry from a cemetery to do a statue of the Blessed Mother that goes on top of a columbarium. And the unknowns is how much it's going to cost. They want to know that. They want to know an idea of what I could do and what it would look like. So what I do is I typically start my proposal by working in clay. So I do a clay model. The clay I really like to work in is Super Sculpey. This is a clay that it will stay flexible until you bake it. You can bake it in a toaster oven at 275 degrees. It's an hour for every 1/4 inch thickness, and it doesn't end up being real hard. But what it does do, you can carve it, you can add to it, you can rebake it, harden the new parts of it. And so I really like working with this. And it won't dry out. I've had some of the Super Sculpey that I didn't bake for years, about 10 years in the shop, and that I made a model and never baked it. And I could go back, and it takes a hammer to kind of beat it, but to get the platelets so they're starting to slide over each other, and then it's just like it's new and ready to form something else. And when you like what you've done and you bake it, it turns out a little bit harder, and it's fairly durable to work with that. So the columbarium in the cemetery was 60 inches high. So it's 60 inches high, and its width is 63 inches. And they wanted something that's going to sit on top of there. First of all, I don't know what size is going to fit. So if I do a clay, then I can take it and superimpose it in the photograph at any size and then choose the right size. Then knowing the size of my clay, knowing the size of this, then I can work out the scale model and see how what size I need to make it. Then I can start working on a price and that sort of thing. So this is going to be done out of marble. One of the lessons that I seem to have to relearn, and I did in this case, is to make the image from the point of view that it's going to be viewed. If you create the image at a different angle than what it's going to be viewed, then it's not going to look right. And this is a prime example. So this columbarium is 60 inches high. So my eye level is right at 60 inches. So this is my eye level right here. So keeping that in mind, I started doing the clay. When I began, I started working with a full figure and quickly realized I did not need this whole lower bottom, that I could increase the size of this and make it more dynamic. So that's what I did. So this is the next image that I was coming up with. And I right now have the camera set right at my eye level. And that is the mistake I made. The reason why I have to relearn the point of view is I thought this distance from this height up to here is only about 4 inches up to my eye level. And so maybe 5, 6 inches. Didn't think it made that much difference. So I just worked on my table that I have here and thought that was good enough. And so I created the image, and I was fairly happy with it as a first attempt. And I painted it white to make it look like marble. And so the thing I realized quickly, and I'll change the camera angle down to where the eye level is really going to be. So now I move the camera down to this level. That's the 60 inches high at the top of the columbarium. And you see The baby Jesus here is almost completely hidden by the arm, and that just is not acceptable. So I started over. This is the image then that I came up with. So this was more acceptable, and you could see the baby Jesus, you could see the arm, and now the height, I can look down at the eye level, I see everything, and as I look higher, I can see everything. And even a kid coming in that his eye level is lower would still be able to see everything in the statue. That was a valuable lesson that I learned. This one here just did not work out. So this is the one that's going to be in my proposal. So here is another example of carving it from the same angle it's going to be viewed. This is a marble carving that's going to go on top of an altar, but this will be 16 feet in the air. So I have to carve it at an angle that I'm looking down at it like this. So to figure out what angle that I have to carve it at, I have to do a graphic design. This is what I did in a graphic design, that this spot right up here is the carving, 16 foot in the air. This is the ground level. My eye level's at 60 inches as you walk in and out of the room here, out of the chapel. And the angles that your eye is to the carving is going to be 60, 70 degrees, 45 is when you're getting up close to it. And when you're back far away from it, it's 70 degrees. So I have to design a banker here that is a comfortable working height for me is 35 inches, and my eye is at 60 inches, and now I have to calculate the angle that I need to be able to view it. So this is my eye at 60 inches high, at 70 degrees, at 60 degrees, and at 45 degrees. So this is the carving is on the bench there, right on the banker. So I need to tilt that top up by 15 degrees. So that will represent the same angles that it's going to be viewed at. So in my design here, to make the workbench, I need to make two of these because I'm doing it in two pieces. So to get to that 35 or 34 inches with the carving on top, this is the bottom piece of the banker here. And then the shipping container is what I'm going to put a hinge on. So I'm going to build a padded shipping container that the marble is going to go into. And then I can tip that up at 15 degrees and block it. And then I will be able to carve it comfortably, and it'll be carving at the same angle that it'll be viewed. Now that we've got the figure, we just need to determine what size that we need to make it. And so to do that, we use the photographic editing to superimpose the statue on the columbarium at the different sizes. So we know the size of the columbarium, and now it's just a matter of what size. This is 2 times life size. Right here on this one, this is 1.5 times life size, which is probably the size I like best. And then this is 1 times life size. So by showing that to the customer, then the customer can decide what size they like best. And if they pick the 1.5 times life size, that's going to be 43 inches tall. And so this block then, which is right now it measures 7 3/4 by 4 3/4 wide, and it's 3 1/8 inch deep. That will extrapolate out to a block that's 43.5 inches tall, 26.7 inches wide, and 17 2.5 inches deep. So that block then, marble weighs about 170 pounds per cubic foot. It's a little over 11 cubic foot. So this will be 1 ton of stone before it starts carving. And that'll probably have about maybe 500 pounds of stone taken off, 300 to 500 pounds. So we're looking at about 1,500 to 1,700 pounds sitting on top of the columbarium. So that's how I can determine the size. That's how I can show the customer what I plan on doing, and the customer has a visual reference of what he's ordering, what size, how it's going to look, and then I've got an idea of what I need to order in the size of the block. So that's how I'm doing my proposal. Thank you.